Well, hello, my name's Dr Tony Whitbread. I'm the president of the Sussex Wildlife Trust, and well, here we are in the southeast of England, the well-wooded southeast of England, in this rather lovely patch of woodland. But when you think about it, we're in a county which is about 18% woodland, which is quite good. The average for Britain is about 13%, so it sounds rather good. But bear in mind that the average for Europe is something over 30%. So even in our most well-wooded county, we're still well below the average for Europe as a whole. We're the second least well-wooded country in Europe. I think only Ireland has less woodland than we have. So it's great to have all this woodland, and it seems like there's a lot, but actually when you compare us to the rest of Europe, we're pretty unwooded. And on a grander scale, I think countries around the world have been looked at in terms of their wildlife diversity, and Britain comes very low on the list. I think we're somewhere like 189th out of 219. So when it comes to biodiversity, when it comes to our wildlife, we're one of the most nature-deprived places in the world. Well, this is interesting. We've just been walking through the woodland and turned a corner and come across this strange plant here. It's called butcher's broom, which is an ancient woodland indicator plant. And well, it's great fun because it's absolutely solid. If you fell in this, you'd certainly know about it. It's used to actually clean butcher's blocks in the past. But it's very slow to colonise, and so coming across it here in the woodland is, again, a really interesting sign of the antiquity of the area we're standing in. Well, we've just been walking around the woods here and past one of the compartments, and we've noticed this really wide track, which is a public right-of-way. But looking at it, it's probably really old indeed, because the banks either side are really very large, and also they're quite wiggly, which is a sign of a very old bank. The more recent ones tend to be straight and smaller. So this is possibly a track which has been here for an extremely long time, maybe as an old drover's road or a hollow way or a green track. So again, it shows the complexity of the history of these areas of woodland. It's quite nice to go through a woodland and just see these large chunks of dead trees, because actually Deadwood is quite a rare habitat in woodland, because mostly trees get removed because they get managed. So seeing something that's been left is rather nice. And you can imagine all these nooks and crannies are living space for all sorts of different wild plants and animals as well. It's the sort of place where bats might roost, or preferred by fungi, for example. This one's got a nice coat of moss on it. So this sort of habitat is really quite nice, and we've seen the odd one scattered through the woodlands. So standing Deadwood in old woodlands is always nice to come across. Well, one interesting thing about going through these woods is all the species you could see. This time of year it's not good, but it's good for fungi, for example. It's a good time of year for fungi. And one thing about woodlands is that there's massive fungi. And actually they all join up underground, so all these trees are interconnected by the fungi that joins their roots together. It's the so-called wood wide web. Trees do talk to each other through this interconnected mass of fungi that go through the soil. So we see lots of fungi. It's also very good because on all the trees you see lots of mosses and lichens, a sign of fairly clear air, which is rather nice. So that's rather good. Now, some of these things are quite slow to colonise. Some of these things are really only associated with something that's been here for a very long time. Now, it's possible to actually end up with more species if you do something to this area, but there'll be more species of the common kinds. So what's really important about this area is you end up with woodland species which are sensitive, which are limited to woodlands. Some of them are limited to ancient woodlands, not the sort of thing you could just get back again once you've destroyed it. So there is a great difference between looking after something which has sensitive, slow to colonise, particular species, rather than looking after something which is full of a diversity of really quite common species. So that's where this scores. That's where this sort of woodland is so valuable. It has these sensitive, slow to colonise, valuable species that add up to make the whole habitat that works here.